8 tips for you to stop eating sweets, or then reduce consumption a lot. What is the importance of this video? Why should you pay attention and do all the tips? Because if you avoid or reduce the consumption of simple carbohydrates, you will have a series of metabolic benefits, such as an improvement in blood sugar, better diabetes control, fat in the liver, a reduction of glycerides. There are several benefits and several diseases that you can achieve by just reducing the control of sweets that you can improve. So pay close attention, because in the end, for the most engaged, I will tell you another tip, in addition to these 8, that I do. And that helps me a lot. Well, let's set a goal of 10,000 likes. No, 9,000 likes. As there are 8 tips, one more bonus tip, so 1,000 likes for each tip. And what is the first tip? Number 1, gradually remove, little by little. If you try from one time to another to make a sudden change, it will not work. This is already proven. This success rate is much higher if you, every week, reduce a little. For example, a classic example here of coffee. If you use coffee with sugar, then in the first week you will remove 25%, a quarter of what you use, for example. In the second, you will put half in the other 25%. So it will take you to remove the sugar from the coffee 4 weeks, just so you have a sense of time for your body to adapt. Otherwise, you will not achieve a very drastic change in food. As much as it seems an easy thing, just take the sugar. It is not. So, first thing, keep in mind that you have to apply these tips for weeks. I, for example, put 2 tablespoons of sugar in the coffee. Now I cannot drink any sweetened drink. If you serve me coffee with a little sugar, I do not drink anymore, because I cannot. This happens to many people. And you, do you put sugar in the coffee, or do you drink bitter coffee like me? Write here in the comments. Or if you put sweetener, is it good or bad? I'll talk about it in this video too. Number 2, add fibers like chia and flax, because they increase your satiety. If you are more satisfied, more satiated, you will eat less. You will be able to have more control of the things you will eat too. You will be able to say no more easily to sweets, for example. And the second great benefit of fibers is that they decrease the glycemic index of food. What is the glycemic index? How much that food will increase your blood sugar. If it increases blood sugar a lot, it is glycemia. You will have to do a peak of insulin to compensate for this, and from a metabolic point of view, it is not interesting. So, add fibers. And you also talk about oats. So is oats good or bad for those who want to reduce the amount of sugar? Because when I say sugar, I also mean simple carbohydrates, okay? Like English potato, like flour, like dough. So, for those who are taking care and want to reduce the amount of sugar, oats are not interesting. Oats have several metabolic benefits, such as cholesterol reduction. But for this side of sugar in the blood, of glycerides, for example, the consumption of oats is not interesting. Number 3, and this tip here, I can't understand why most people don't do it, which is very simple and very easy for you to do. It costs nothing, which is water intake. If you are hydrated, in addition to your body working better, often when you are dehydrated, your brain confuses the stimulus of thirst with hunger. You end up eating more. So, what is an adequate water intake? At least 30 milliliters per kilo of weight. For example, a person who weighs 70 kilos will have to drink an average of 2 liters and 100 milliliters of water, divided 4 and 5 times, which is very simple. It is easy for you to be able to execute, and it can really help you. So, it's worth it, this tip here. It's easy. Do you want to start? Start with this one then. It's the easiest tip, and it costs nothing. Number 4, not having sweets at home. This tip here may seem simple, but also, at the time of execution, it is difficult, because you have to schedule yourself. Go to the refrigerator, go to the pantry. Do you have any sugar there? So try to remove it. Why? Because many times you will be in that moment of weakness. You will be there in temptation. I'll get it. Just today. Tomorrow I'll start. So it will prevent you from achieving the goals. You avoid it. Because if you are not at the pantry, for example, if you have to go out to buy, it will often be late. Many times you will not be there. No, wait a minute. I have this goal of stopping eating sweets. So it's worth you check your house. And also very important here, have the support of the family, of the people who live together. Look, I'm trying to reduce the consumption of sweets. You can collaborate, at least at this moment, the initial moment. So talk to your family, talk to the people who live together, because it's no use. You're trying, especially at the beginning, which is more difficult. And then the people keep making churros, keep making strawberry cake, milk cake. It's no use. It won't work. The chance of you not being able to say no is very high. So, avoid having sweets at home. Number 5, if you really can't, for example, have coffee or tea, if you've tried, if you've done this gradual reduction, if you can't adapt, the use of natural sweeteners is an alternative, such as stevia, xylitol, erythritol. Why? Because natural sweeteners have no study that relates or that tries to relate to the increase in cancer. So, you don't have to be afraid to consume stevia if you really need it or ask a lot. There are some videos circulating saying that due to the fact that it's sweet, if you use a natural sweetener, for example, just because of that, it could generate a peak of insulin or increase blood sugar. Insulin would increase in the body. This is totally a lie, okay? No study has proven this. What increases blood sugar and causes insulin to peak is precisely the intake of sweets and not the sweet sensation in the mouth, okay? So, you don't have to be afraid. Number 6, when you go to serve yourself, take the protein first. You will serve yourself, you will eat first, and then you will complement. It also works because it will prevent you from taking more things than you can eat. If you take several spoons of rice or pasta, for example, you will be able to avoid the consumption of carbohydrates. Because if you leave it to eat later, you will be a little satisfied. You will have already eaten the protein. What happens a lot, I know, it was already your case. Because everyone has already done this. You will serve, you are hungry, you end up serving in excess. And when you are eating, you realize I should not have served so much. And what happens? You end up eating now. I will not put it out. I will not waste food. There is no way. Put this good food out here. And then you end up eating more than you should. So that way you can prevent this from happening. Number 7, know the foods. For example, tapioca. Do you think it is a food that has a lot or little sugar? It is a food that has a lot. So you should avoid if you are trying to reduce simple carbohydrate cereal bar. Those cookies that even on the label, it is written that they are healthy. Do you think there is a lot or little? It is also a food that has a large concentration of sugars. So you need to know the foods in an easy way. Extremely easy is looking at the label. If you have carbohydrate sugars, a high concentration, a higher load of sugars. For example, this food you will avoid. If you want me to make a video only with foods that seem healthy, but they are not, write in the comments that I prepare, and it is easier for you to learn too. And tip number 8, avoid rewards. Many people put as rewards, this is how I deserve. I will eat this cake because I deserve. I will put sugar because I deserve. What happens? You end up connecting the merit with sugar. So you have to avoid put sugar as a prize. Do not do it anymore. Do not put it as a reward. You will see that it is also a way to reduce sugar consumption. I will give you a bonus tip. What is this bonus tip that I do? I put a pinch of cinnamon, for example, in coffee. I get the espresso coffee. I put a pinch. I'm not talking about cinnamon in capsules. Or you put a large amount of cinnamon thinking that this will make a difference. It's not that. That pinch already manages to make me limit the consumption of sweet, simple carbohydrates. In some situations like gestation, you should avoid the use of cinnamon. But in small doses, as is the case that I am talking here, there is no study that connects cinnamon consumption with a change in coagulation, or then with a damage to the liver. No problem. The problems are when you ingest a very high dose. It is not the case here. So, a little common sense in the consumption of cinnamon, and also avoid capsules that you do not even know what's inside. What grade do you give for this video? From 0 to 10, if it's 10, I make more videos like this. What city do you speak from? Which part of the world are you watching? I'm from Porto Alegre, right here, this city that I always like to read since I talked about the reduction of sweet consumption. There is a video that I give 12 tips to better control blood sugar, to have better control of diabetes, which is essential that you watch too. If you've seen this video or if you don't have diabetes and you have a lot of fat in the liver. In this video here, I also talk about it, the best and worst foods for those who have fat in the liver. I'm sure you'll like it and it will help you a hug.